Tensions flared in Raleigh, North Carolina, after a Tuesday night police shooting sparked a social media frenzy and sent protesters marching to the governor's mansion, where they reportedly took down flags and burned them.
"This is not who we are as a city," Raleigh Police Chief Cassandra Deck Brown said at a news conference, blaming the spread of false information for the unrest.
On Twitter and Facebook, posters claimed a 16-year-old boy had been shot in the back while running away from a store with pizza.
But Raleigh police later said that the suspect, Javier Torres, was 26 years old, that they were responding to a call of a man with a gun, and that he was shot in the abdomen after refusing to drop his weapon. He was in unknown condition at a hospital.
The police chief said the officer who fired and other cops were wearing activated body cams and that she was seeking permission to release the footage to the public.
"We ask the public not to rush to judgment in this incident," she said.
The incident unfolded in the evening at a shopping plaza where police had shot and killed another man nearly a year ago. Someone called 911 to report they had seen a gun.
"He's flashing it around," the caller said, according to WRAL. "Not sure he's using the gun, but he's flashing."
When police got to the scene, Torres ran, authorities said.
A foot chase ensued, during which police repeatedly ordered Mr. Torres to stop and drop the gun, police said in a statement.
During the chase, Mr. Torres was shot one time by a responding officer. He was transported to a nearby hospital by EMS. A handgun, as described by the 911 caller, was located at the scene of the shooting.
In the hours after, a Facebook Live video purported to be from a woman who witnessed the shooting was shared on social media.
"We was at the light. We seen this little boy just running, with a pizza," the woman says in anguished tones, a young child repeating her words in the background. "All of a sudden I seen a cop pull his gun out, and then he put it back in, and the next thing you know you hear gunshots.
This is wrong," she added.
An emotional crowd gathered at the small shopping strip and outside the police chief's house, demanding answers.
"We need immediate and swift transparency regarding this incident because the community has a right to know and needs to know what's going on," Kerwin Pittman told CBS 17.
They took to the streets, chanting "RPD is KKK," and at 1 a.m. some headed to the governor's mansion, where the flags were burned, WRAL reported.
Deck Brown decried the property damage and pointed the finger at reckless and false information that has been spread on social media.
"It is also important that individuals who have a desire to voice their concerns," she said. "There is a method by which they can do that, without damaging other people's property, without harming other folks."
One person was arrested during the disturbances.
The incident happened nearly a year after a Raleigh officer shot and killed Sohail Antonio Moharid, 30, near the same intersection. Police said then that Moharid refused commands to drop a pocket knife.
The officer's body cam was not on during the 2019 confrontation, but the police department later mandated that the cameras always be recording, according to WRAL.
More than 2 years after dozens of women bravely stepped forward to accuse Harvey Weinstein of sexual misconduct, the disgraced movie mogul has been sentenced to 23 years in prison for rape and sexual assault.
Weinstein, 67, was convicted last month of sexually assaulting former Project Runway production assistant Miriam Halei and raping former actress Jessica Mann. The Oscar winner, who was handcuffed to his wheelchair as he was removed from the courtroom, faced a minimum of 5 years and as much as 29 years in prison.
"It is time for people who rape other people to pay with their life and the life they took," Mann told the court shortly before he was sentenced.
All 6 women who testified against Weinstein at trial tearfully embraced as the sentence was read and received a round of applause as they walked out of the courtroom.
Both Halei and Mann delivered emotional statements at the sentencing, describing the trauma they've endured in the aftermath of their assaults.
"He violated my trust, my body, and my basic right to reject sexual advances," Halei said. "When he attacked me that evening, it scarred me emotionally and physically."
During the hearing, Weinstein delivered a rambling statement of his own that garnered audible gasps in the courtroom, claiming that he had serious friendships with the 2 women and insisting he never really had much power in Hollywood.
I am a builder. I know how to build and I know how to generate and pass my success forward, he said, claiming that his victims would say he's generous in that part of the relationship.
Weinstein went on to say that he's totally confused, and while he has remorse for this situation, he's worried about America.
I am just feeling for the thousands of men and women who are losing due process, he said. I am worried for this country.
People are losing their jobs over the fact that they testified, he continued. This is the United States of America. This is wrong. I had no great powers in this industry. At the height of its power, Miramax was a small business.
Weinstein's defense team said they plan to appeal. Defense attorney Donna Rotuno told reporters outside the courthouse that the sentence was absurd, and she was overcome by anger at that number, claiming he never had a fair shake from day one.
Nothing. It means nothing to me, Rotuno said when asked about what Weinstein's sentence means to the #MeToo movement.
The 6 women who testified against the movie mogul sat in the front row of the packed Manhattan Supreme Court room, after entering together. The Oscar-winning film producer, who was dressed in a black suit and entered in a wheelchair, glanced at the row of his accusers before sitting with his legal team.
Simply put, without these women and others who were willing to come forward, be 100% transparent, sacrifice their privacy and well-being, the allegations would have never been taken in and would have never been successful, and the defendant would have never stopped destroying lives, Assistant District Attorney Joan Aluzzi said Wednesday. Each of these ladies represents the resilience of every moral person who stands up and says, enough.
Throughout his 4-week watershed trial in Manhattan, prosecutors argued Weinstein abused his power and prestige in the entertainment industry, preying on women for more than 3 decades and promising to kickstart their careers in exchange for sex acts.
While over 80 women have accused Weinstein of sexual harassment and rape, jurors only heard from 6 women at the trial.
Most detailed in court how Weinstein lured them into isolated places to discuss their goals in the entertainment industry before sexually assaulting them. The women all admitted they never told the authorities about the abuse out of embarrassment and fear of career ruin.
The young struggling dreamers were not even people to him. He could take what he wanted knowing there was very little anyone could do about it, Aluzzi said Wednesday.
On Friday, Aluzzi argued in a sentencing memo to Burke that Weinstein should receive a substantial amount of prison time to reflect the lives he destroyed over the last 4 decades, accusing him of 30 incidents of sexual assault, harassment, and workplace bullying since 1978.
In addition to detailing 16 new allegations of sexual assault, Aluzzi also described how Weinstein threw staples at female assistants, once knocked his brother unconscious, and bragged about his ability to get people killed. In 2015, Weinstein also allegedly threatened a board member that he would send someone to his office to cut off his genitals with garden shears.
These acts, viewed in their totality, establish that throughout his entire adult professional life, the defendant has displayed a staggering lack of empathy, treating others with disdain and inhumanity, the prosecutor wrote. He has consistently advanced his own sordid desires and fixations over the well-being of others. He has destroyed people's lives and livelihoods or threatened to do so on a whim.
Weinstein's defense team insisted throughout the trial that Weinstein had only consensual sexual relationships with the women who testified against him. In a Monday evening letter, Weinstein's legal team asked Burke to consider giving him 5 years behind bars, which they called a de facto life sentence, given their client's health problems.
In addition to Mann and Halayi, jurors heard from 4 corroborating witnesses whose allegations fell outside the statute of limitations: Sopranos actress Annabella Sciorra, who said Weinstein violently raped her in her apartment in 1993 or 1994, Dawn Dunning, who said Weinstein sexually assaulted her in 2004, Taral Wolfe, who was allegedly assaulted by the producer a year later, and Lauren Young, who was allegedly assaulted in Weinstein's Beverly Hills hotel room days before the 2013 Oscars.
When Judge Burke said 20, for the first time I can say I feel a sense of happiness, I guess, Wolfe said outside the courthouse on Wednesday.
During deliberations, jurors were asked to weigh Sciorra's testimony as an aggravating factor to support 2 counts of predatory sexual assault. After 5 days of deliberations, jurors ultimately cleared him of the counts related to Sciorra on February 24.
Actress Rosie Perez, who testified during the trial to corroborate Shora's allegations, was also present Wednesday and walked in holding her longtime friend's arm. She sat a row behind the Weinstein accusers, while Shora sat in between Manhattan District Attorney Cy Vance and Halle.
Weinstein was remanded immediately after the verdict was read but went to New York's Bellevue Hospital instead of Rikers Island Jail Complex after he experienced high blood pressure and heart palpitations. He later had a stent put in to open a blockage, and remained at the hospital for 10 days.
The movie mogul is set to remain at Rikers temporarily until he is deemed ready to be transferred to a state prison facility, a state corrections official told the Daily Beast. Weinstein's legal team said he is pushing to be housed at Fishkill Correctional Facility in upstate New York.
Weinstein's legal battle doesn't end with Wednesday's sentencing. The movie mogul also faces 4 sex crimes charges in Los Angeles for allegedly raping one woman and sexually assaulting another over a 2-day period in 2013.